Rock 100.5 KATT. I am Cameron Buchholtz here with comedian Billy Wayne Davis. What's going on, man?
Living the dream here in sunny Los Angeles, California.
Indeed, dude. But you were home a film exchange in the Paramount building, matinee show. Was that your choice to do a matinee show?
Well, I got he said, would you be interested? And I said, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, I would,
So,
because I'm like in my 40s, and a lot of my fans are in our late 30s, 40s, and
mhm. It's a
I've done a
Sunday.
couple of them. Well, I've done a couple of them. I did a 5:30 show last year, just kind of being like, let's see.
Hmm.
And everyone was like, "This is great. We should do more shows like this." And like the response was great, and I was like, "Oh, okay. So well, yeah, let's do it."
I'm still a monster where I want the shows to start as late as possible. Like I hate that most comedy clubs have switched to a 7 o'clock show because I feel like 8 o'clock is what showtime is.
Now, I do wrestle with this as someone that was like younger and like loved a midnight show sometimes,
Hmm.
because it was like a secret. It's like there's like a secret vibe to it where you're like, we're doing something cool, and
Yeah.
but the next morning is so hard. So
Right.
I think that this is like the older or the more mature version of the midnight show, which is like, we're gonna do this weird 3 p.m. show
Mm,
with you, and it works because as long as I figured out the key is a building without many windows.
sure. And you're going to be in a room with zero windows because you're in
That
what's essentially a movie theater. So it's going to feel like whatever time the audience wants it to feel like in
we're
there.
gonna make it feel like it's bad. We're doing bad stuff in there.
And it's like a 100+ year old building that I think has been owned by the Paramount company for most of its life. So bad stuff probably has happens in there.
Oh, 100%. That's what's kept it going.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
just
But when I
the
saw
kid.
the 3:30 show and then saw that you were coming from Austin from a Saturday night show, I was like, oh, Billy's gonna wake up early Sunday morning to make that drive to OKC.
I looked at flying. I'll be honest, and the math didn't. The math was just like, it's a little too much to fly because of the drive is just doable, but
Right.
it is. You're right. I do have a late show in Austin. Starts around 10, and I'm going to leave as soon as the show's over. Try to get some sleep in and get back and
Yeah.
drive with no THC anything on me
Of course
until
not.
I get to Oklahoma, and then we'll get
Oh,
some medicine.
I think I lost you for a second.
Oh no, you got me.
Oh, you're back, I think.
Oh,
Typical Zoom issues.
it is. I It's Zoom. I don't. I have very good.
Yeah, who knows? It could be me, it could be, whatever.
It's Zoom. It's not a Zoom.
But anyway, yeah, you're doing the Velveeta Room this weekend, which is always fun. You get to perform for all the people barked in off of drinking on 6th Street.
It is my. I do that. I do the Velveeta Room. It is a. You're right. It is a tiny little It's a very special place in stand up there in Austin, and I make little to no money doing it, but
Yeah.
it very much it exercises a certain muscle in stand up that I feel is very important.
Hmm.
So what you described is perfect, because I'll get a mixture of, some of my fans will go to Sixth Street.
Yeah.
A lot of them will not. They're like, we do not know why you do this. And I'm like, it's not for you.
Right.
But and then a good percentage of them have been barked in off Sixth Street. So you have to be at yourself. You can't fall back on, like, I'm just going to do my jokes in a rhythm and get these people. So what you guys are going to see in Oklahoma City is like, I'm going to be sharp
Yeah.
even then.
I love the Velveeta because they have the same door guy slash barker that they've had for like 30 some years, which is amazing because there's not a lot of those kind of comedy places left, I feel like.
Michael is special. I love him, and he does his thing. It You're right. It is like there's like a tip of the hat to the way art used to be done, or live performance, and
Mm,
I think it's part of what's missing in a lot of venues and all that. And I think, we could get into why that is, and that's
sure. Yeah.
that's a long podcast. Is what
Yeah.
that is. But I think that that's important. Like I said, I could make more money somewhere in Austin playing somewhere else, but there's something really sweet and special about that place that I
Mm,
like to go tip my hat, and then I can go make money somewhere else. But it's the same reason I like to play. Like when Brad Chad was like, "Would you be interested in playing this film exchange place?" I was
hmm
like, "Yeah, that sounds cool and weird." And at 3 o'clock,
Yeah.
because I got into comedy, I do like the money part. I do
Sure.
make a decent living. You know, it's not an easy living, but it is like a fun living. But I got into doing stand up because it's like I get to do whatever I want, and it's a weird kind of thing where I could do it in weird places, and but like
Yeah.
and I think it's one, and I'm not saying this like, oh, we're bashing the free speech and all that stuff. It's like we we can be, but we're not using it correctly right now for sure.
Sure.
But I'm not trying to get rich, and I mean I would like to get a little bit more rich, but
Sure.
fame and money is not the whole reason I did stand up.
Mm,
It's to be able to go to Oklahoma City on a Sunday and play a 3 o'clock show to other weirdos
sure.
that are like when you see that at 3 o'clock, other weirdos would be like, that's weird. I like
Yeah.
that.
That's
And
not
not be
just
like, why is he not doing the place where they normally do the thing, you know? So
you're not going to get the standard, oh, we saw this listing in the weekly and we're going to do a date night and we're going to like it's going to be a much more pointed decision to go there.
yes. And I've learned that too. My people are over the
Mhm.
years I've done the shows at the
Yeah.
venues where the people look and they're like, they're doing a comedy at the comedy spot. And then they go and I'm not exactly what they want
Sure.
me to
It's
be.
not what they
And
had
that's
in their idea when they saw comedy night.
and it's so I kind of like I've realized where my people are and where I need to go. And then in a lot of ways it's our little ways of fighting the big corporate people
Sure.
too, to be like
Yeah.
I don't like the way you do business, so I'm gonna go to these independents.
I mean, but you've probably been coming to Oklahoma City for what, 20, 25 years at this point? Because I remember when I started at the Looney Bin some almost 20 years ago, you were at like headlining there fairly regularly, I think, at that point.
It was that was the loony bins were important to my career because early on I learned how to close and headline shows because you'd have to do like 7 or 8 shows. You come in on like Wednesday and you're doing 9 shows.
Yeah.
And I and Jeff was really good to me too. He was like, I think he was like, oh, we were gonna have to just you're gonna have to close. And then I dealt because I was good. I worked really hard and I was good
Hmm.
early on. And
Yeah.
then I dealt with, which is always fun, to there would be guys older than me, middling,
Sure.
and then we'd have to stay in the same house
Yeah.
always.
You'd be in the condo together and, yeah.
And that was always, I learned diplomacy and, with like how hierarchies can work and not work and what this business kind of was. And I remember like, yeah, you learn how to work a room in those rooms because they're not advertising you. They're advertising stand up comedy.
Hmm.
And you can learn how to tell your jokes to people that don't necessarily want to hear your point of view, which is important.
Yeah.
And you learn about the business. I learned real quick, like, oh, early on, I thought once I'm headlining rooms like that, everything be cool.
Right.
Then you start doing it, and you're like, oh, this
No.
is this is the stepping stone. This
Yeah.
needs to be, yeah, yeah.
But I
They
mean,
don't care about
I very much appreciate that I started in that room because like you learn it just even like because Terry, the owner of the Looney Bin or manager, was terrifying, especially if you were an open micer like going up for the first time
it.
there.
I had it, and I saw it because Larry and I always had a great relationship, and Jeff, one of the other owners.
Mm,
But so I never got Terry's wrath because I was in a different position, but
yeah,
I did see it,
yeah,
and I wasn't I wasn't always like like you see other headliners like, "Whoa, she needs to ease up." I was always like, I don't think she does. I
Yeah.
think she's kind of being like, if you can't handle this kind of thing, this business will destroy you.
Yeah.
Did you?
Tech issues anyway. But we were talking about Looney Bin, I think, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think Terry, like, she got a bad rep because she was kind of like hard on people, but I think she did everyone a service that came through there was like, listen, and I experienced it at my home club.
Mm,
We had a kind of a hard ass manager lady, and at the time I was like, you jump through whatever hoops because you're dream chasing, but then once you get into the business and you're too deep to like do anything else, you're like, oh, they did prepare you for like you have to be
yeah.
like kind of tough skinned and be like, oh, and be able to take some hard lumps to keep
Mm,
doing it. So
totally. And now at this point, you're pretty much always on the road, but like, you were talking about more of the alternative venues and stuff. So, I mean, how often do you still try to do like a standard comedy club weekend or do you pretty much avoid that for the most part at this point?
I don't, and I don't think it was super by design that I started leaning more independent venues. It was more like the way I like to tour lent itself to doing more one night type rooms
Mm,
where the way the clubs were set up a lot of times you need to do like 3 or 4 days somewhere or that's how they book it or and that's how they promote the thing and it's like financially it didn't make sense after a while and then there was like the way it worked. But like I still think that I have a nice relationship with a handful of clubs that I do like the way they do things
mm,
and they've always treated comedians as artists instead of as one of the marks.
right.
So I would say I would do if I broke it down, it's probably like a fifth of my work
Okay.
probably in clubs. Fifth or sixth, probably more and more
Yeah.
doing different weirder venues. But I've also found that like other venues have learned how to do stand up,
Hmm.
which I think is cool and also important. And then people aren't drinking as much, so there's like this interesting time where the way the business works is different. So
Sure.
it's fascinating.
And now,
I've seen it go all different ways, but you know,
yeah. Now, when people are coming out to see you, what's kind of the main thing that they know you from? I mean, is it just like, clips on Instagram or what's the kind of driving force behind your audience?
I wish I knew
Yeah.
because then I could zero in on that.
Mm,
But I do think I think clips help now more than anything. Just getting people's attention on who you are. If they see a couple clips, then they can go see. I think that for a minute, just seeing a clip could get people to a show, but I think they've been burned enough
sure.
by that that
Hmm.
now they're like, well, let's that was funny. Let's see what else they've got. So I think podcast appearances. Some people know me from Behind the Bastards and like some last podcast on the left kind of podcast
Hmm.
I've done in the dollop. And then another one that I always forget, but people have to remind me like you should advertise is Squidbillies.
Oh, sure.
Is like
Yeah.
there's a lot of Squidbillies fans, and I always forget because that one didn't feel like a credit to me. Something you work hard for. It was like that was like a dream kind
Yeah.
of came true
Oh, no,
because I was just a
were you a
fan
voice
of the
and a
show.
writer on that?
Writer is not the correct term
Okay.
uh, because of certain things and stuff. But I was a creative consultant on the last season. We just spent 3 or 4 days in some rooms making
Hmm.
things funny or giving them ideas and stuff. And that was like a dream.
Yeah.
And then and I did some like random character voices, just like random, dudes in a prison cell or dudes, or like
Hmm.
things like
Sure.
how any Southern person can do like 9 different Southern accents.
Right.
And then they were like, "Hey, we have this character that may come back. Would you be interested?" And I was like, "Yeah." Then they paid me. And I was like, "Oh yeah." I was
Yeah.
like, I would have done. I was already just such a fan of that show because people don't get the South right a lot,
Hmm.
and I think when they do, it's special. It's
Yeah.
like the Rough House guys, like Eastbound and Down guys, like they get it, they
Yeah.
nail it. And then Squidbillies was something like a friend of mine in Seattle was like, "You ever watched the show?" And I watched it, and I was like, "Oh, this is genius! Like they're really like making fun of all this stuff, but in a subtle, clever way, which is like I don't know. I was just up my alley. So
I should go back. I remember it, but I don't know how much I actually watched it.
oh, it's even more clever than you will remember because
Yeah.
it was on late too, so you were probably not
Sure.
clear headed
Right,
either.
right. Yeah, yeah. Uh, and that was, I mean, there was an era where I watched a lot of Adult Swim. I think there was kind of that hit right around the time I was in college, and like,
It was
it was a
our
big deal.
wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But no, you're talking about the South. I want your opinion on this because your name is Billy Wayne. You're Southern with a capital
sure.
S. What's your feeling? Is Oklahoma part of the South?
I think. I mean, people. I think there are pockets of Oklahoma like the North. There are pockets, in like the Midwest
Hmm.
where there Southern people left,
Yeah.
and there's Southern part. I think a lot of that has to do with the Trail of Tears ending up
Hmm.
there
Sure.
because I think a lot of Southern culture comes from Native culture too.
Hmm.
And people won't talk about that a lot. They
No.
don't like to talk about
Yeah.
that, but I think that has a lot to do with why there's a lot of because it's Cherokee and they came from all
Yeah.
over the South and he moved them all to Oklahoma.
Mm,
And it's like, y'all, that that's a lot of culture there that they
yeah.
moved.
And it wasn't
Now,
really that long ago.
oh God, no, that people don't like to talk about that either.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
and
now,
Oklahoma also has more so than any of those other plain states has a real southern and I know this is radio, but that southern fu
mhm,
that kind of you ain't telling me how to do stuff.
yeah.
Oklahoma still has that. Like Texas has it. Like the South
Mm,
has it deep, where there's like a chip on our shoulder, and Oklahoma still has it. You don't see it in Kansas. There's more of
yeah.
like a. That's where you get that kind of like
They're a
that
little more
calm.
stoic about it.
Yes, so it's a great word. Like I call them sturdy people because they're not
Hmm.
fat, but they're big,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they're just
They're solid.
kind of standing there, and
Hmm.
like the wind will go around me, and
Yeah.
like yes, yeah.
But now, at a certain point, I'd imagine when you were, coming up in comedy, did you kind of rebel against being a Southern comic? I mean, you can't go too far with, how you sound in your name and stuff, but I'd imagine there were still things like, I don't want to be that guy.
I I don't advertise myself as a Southern comedian, and I never have.
Hmm.
One of the best compliments I ever got was Dean Del Rey was doing his podcast. He's like, "Oh, you're like Al Madrigal, where you're just like a comedian. You're not really like a." But
Yeah.
people want to put the thing on you, and I was like, "Yeah, no, Al and I have discussed that a couple times,
Hmm.
where it is like." I also told people early on, like, you don't have to put Southern in anything, in any advertisement, any promo. My name is Billy Wayne Davis.
Right.
So there's going to be this implication. Now, I played with since the start. I always played with like I know people have expectations of who they think I'm going to be,
Hmm.
and I still play with that. That's
Yeah.
still very fun. Like I could go by a different name, but you know, I like people to think one thing, and then
Yeah.
you're going to have to listen and play with things. And like it's just also, if I'm being honest, American culture has a hard time with just a Southern person being a person without being like cartoonish.
Right.
So that's part of why I've just kind of maintained somewhat have been like, no, no, we're just people.
Yeah.
We don't have to be. You don't have to, have the whole thing and do the stuff. I know it sells well, and you can make a lot of money too.
Oh, sure. Well, I mean, back whatever 20 years ago, there was the blue collar thing I'm sure you had to battle against. And then even now we have our own, people don't want to really admit it, but the Nate Land stuff isn't that far off from what blue collar was.
It, yeah, no, it's all clean cut,
Hmm.
kind of. And I've always, even as a, even in high school, I was always confused as to why cussing bothered people so much.
Hmm.
I still don't understand it.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Yeah, why is that word that different, or why is that? Yeah.
Or, and like I learned playing, I did this string of performing arts centers after I placed well in some contests early in my career on the West
Hmm.
Coast. And it was a lot of older people. And what I noticed really quick was like they didn't like the F word. But if I said GD
Hmm.
instead of the F word, they didn't even know.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's very peculiar is probably the
Hmm.
right word. That, but the reason I noticed that, and the reason I put it together, I noticed like anytime I said the F word, I would lose. So I
Hmm.
was like, okay, I still want to hit this thing. The reason I'm using the F word is for a purpose. I'm not overusing this word. Like there's
Yeah.
a, it's for effect. So there's like a boom right there. And I was watching Seinfeld, who I'm not a huge fan of. I don't know
Hmm.
if it's technically solid. We're not
Yeah.
gonna, but
I
it's
love
not.
comedian and kind of nothing else.
It's a great way to put it. His show's great, but that's Larry David. So,
Mm.
and he was a great straight man. He was
Yeah.
a really great straight guy. But the only curse he would really use was GD.
Hmm.
So I noticed, I clocked that. I was like, oh, he knows that word's okay because he's done the legwork.
Yeah.
And then I plugged it in and was like, oh, fair. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's like I think also to get to a certain point in comedy, to get to a certain level, you have to stop. You start pandering to a certain degree and stop being
Sure.
funny and biting.
Mm.
It's the same in music too. So
Yeah.
it's not like it's it's pop. So
Yeah. That's how it goes.
I don't do. I can't. I
Yeah.
tried it.
Right.
I
Yeah.
can't. I'm
You
not.
can't. That's good. That's good.
No, it's. I'm not unhappy about it. Like that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Like I've tried, and you're like,
Right.
oh, I will have a nice living doing this, but I will not have untold wealth.
Sure. You're going to be at Oklahoma Film Exchange, not the Thunder basketball arena.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
but yeah. But no, thank you so much for taking the time, Billy. And yeah, everybody go out Sunday afternoon for the matinee show there at Oklahoma Film Exchange in the Paramount building.
Come hang out, Cameron.
I'm gonna try, but it's the Blue Whale Comedy Festival is this weekend in Tulsa, and I'm on a brunch show on Sunday. So it's even worse than the matinee. I'm on a brunch show on Sunday. So, you
That's
know,
a kind of that can be hit or miss because of the booze.
yeah, it's hard to say. I don't
That is
know.
a
I
it's a
feel like they should
real.
have just let the drag queens do it, but you know,
They do more stuff than us. It's
yeah,
kind of
but I
gross.
should be able to get there in time.
Don't
But
do anything silly, but if you can't make it,
no,
I
no,
guess.
yeah. But now if people want to find you
And
on the socials, what are you just Billy Wayne Davis on everything, I assume?
yeah, if you Google Billy Wayne Davis, the all the appropriate socials or whatever you use, I have some kind of. Except
Yeah.
for TikTok, I'm not on TikTok, but I have been told that there are Billy Wayne Davis stuff on TikTok, which is
Okay. People are just taking what's on Instagram and moving it over, and sure.
I it's fine. I at first I was like I should be getting those views, and I was like I'm not monetized. Like,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
for
What is it?
advertising anyway, so I don't
Yeah.
know why I would. Yeah,
It's more
so
about the eyeballs on it for the yeah. So whatever.
I was just more like, huh. I guess I don't care that much that weird other people.
Yeah. But yeah, dude.
Thanks, fans.
No, yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. Everybody go out Sunday afternoon.